Welcome to Speak Life with Dr. Amy Chai. Information for your best life. Now, here's Amy Chai.
Hi, everybody, and welcome once again to Speak Life New Haven. And today I'm super excited to present to you part 3 of my series, Why Can't I Lose Weight? And if you missed the first and the second in the series, you might want to go back and watch them. But don't worry, I'm going to go ahead and review some of the things that we learned in session 1 and session 2. So here goes. First of all, I want you all to think about a box. And this, in fact, it's a box full of rocks, okay? It's a box of rocks. And do you know what? Your body is not a box full of rocks. And what you've been told that is all about calories is if a calorie is a rock, calories in the box equals calories out of the box. Simple as that. Calories in, calories out. But guess what? You're not a box. You are a human being who has been wonderfully designed to survive despite starvation. So instead of being just a box full of rocks, your body has multiple hormones, including leptin and ghrelin, thyroid hormone, and growth hormone. It also includes all sorts of other intestinal hormones like cholecystokinin and PYY and all GLP. And there are just a number of different pathways of hormones that control how your body manages to hold on to your weight. And your body wants to hold on to your weight. And that's why when you do lose weight, it's an alarm system to your body to try to hold on to that weight to prevent you from losing weight, because you are not a box of rocks. So let's go to the first slide. The body actually has a weight set point, and the body likes to defend that set point. And what that set point is made out of includes a number of different things, including your age, your sex, your health profile, the medications that you're on, your genes, your epigenetic landscape that you inherit from your parents, sleep and stress, and so on and so forth. There are a number of things in your body that actually regulate your weight set point. And so what we've got to do is try to look at the different hormones that are out there and learn how we're going to trick our body into getting to a healthy weight when our body does not want to go to a healthy weight. So the hormones that I've been talking about so far have been leptin, and leptin is the fat storage hormone that tells your body how much fat you have. And if you don't have enough fat, well, your body's going to get really worried. And that's what happens when you lose weight. And if you get fatter, your body actually develops leptin resistance, which is a high level of leptin, but your body just is not sensing the leptin. It makes it difficult to lose weight. It makes you fatigued and sluggish. And we talked a little bit more about that last time. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about ghrelin. And ghrelin is the hormone that causes hunger. So stay with me, and we're going to learn about tricking your body. So just for reviewing, we have this slide up here, and it's about how leptin saves fat. So if you are losing about 10% of your body weight, which is a very healthy amount of body weight to lose to improve your metabolism and your insulin sensitivity and all those other important health parameters, when you lose that 10%, your metabolism is going to go down by about 15%. And that's a bummer for people who are trying to be as fit as they can be. And the way it decreases this is number one, by lowering our resting metabolic rate. There's decreased T4 and also decreased T3 and TSH. And there's also a decreased sympathetic tone, which is your fight or flight energy buzz type of hormone that comes from your adrenal glands. And it also lowers our active metabolic rate, which is that feeling of lethargy, that feeling of fatigue, that feeling like you just don't want to exercise. That comes from leptin resistance. And also your muscles, they get a lot more efficient. So when you do exercise, you do work out, it's not going to burn as many calories. How do we fix it? How do we fix it? Okay, can you beat leptin's evil game? Well, you can't beat it, but you can do something about it. And that's really what we're going to talk about briefly before we get into talking a little bit more about beating ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone. Okay, so let's get started. A little bit of review about leptin resistance and a little bit of discussion about how we might be working with that and fixing that as we work towards our best health. Okay. So the first thing, if you look on the screen, you have a decreased resting metabolic rate. Well, how are you going to increase your resting metabolic rate? That's very challenging, especially for women who tend to have lower amounts of muscle. And as you know, muscle is a tissue that's much more likely to burn energy. And men tend to have more muscle than women do. But you can increase your metabolism by gaining muscle. Now, how are you going to gain muscle? Slow and steady wins the race. You have to eat adequate protein for, at least 50 grams of protein a day is standard. You would want to talk to your doctor about how much protein you should have. But then what you want to do is do weightlifting exercises and squats, things like that are going to build major muscle groups. Okay. So that is any type of muscle that you can build is going to help your metabolism. The other thing you can do is you can check your thyroid gland. If you're feeling like you're having a low thyroid symptoms, but it looks like your TSH is normal, it may be that leptin resistance is actually causing a normal TSH in the face of a little bit of a lower than expected T4 and T3, because you expect for TSH to be high in hypothyroidism, but in leptin resistance, both the thyroid hormones as well as the TSH both go down. So you may want to ask about leptin resistance and if that might be affecting your thyroid when you talk to your doctor about your thyroid health. A third thing that can help with your metabolic rate is actually exposure to cold. And we're definitely experiencing that this weekend. They did an experiment where they took men, college students actually, and put them in a metabolic unit where they had very well supervised intake and outtake of calories. So it was completely metabolically analyzed. So they took these men and they did a study where the men were put in these cotton hospital type garbs for sleeping in the hospital room, and all they gave them was a sheet, and then they turned the temperature down to 66 degrees. So they were sleeping in a light cotton gown with just a light sheet, and it was cold all night. And what that did when it was cold was it actually caused the men to burn more calories in order to maintain the body heat. And it also helped them to transition some of the unhealthy white fat to more healthy brown fat. And we didn't really talk about brown fat yet, but it's a better type of fat to have. So being cold can actually help your metabolism. But just like all of these interventions, when you stop being cold, then your metabolism goes back to where it was before you were cold. Um, but it's a good way to save energy. So you might as well turn your thermostat down a couple degrees, and who knows, it might give you a little bit of a better metabolism. I think the men in the study, they burned an extra 50 calories by sleeping in the cold. I don't know if that's worth it. um, so what about active energy burning? Um, well, as I told you, the muscles are going to be, well, they're going to be a lot more efficient. So when you exercise, you're doing that bike, or you're like doing some elliptical training or something like that, and you're setting it up. You think you're burning a certain amount of calories, but it's like, why aren't you losing the weight? And the reason is because your muscles have become more efficient because you're leptin resistant. So what you want to do is do something where you're going to trick your muscles and make them inefficient. The way to make your muscles inefficient is with something called high intensity interval training. And what that is it's equal time intervals, like 30 seconds and 30 seconds off and on, of just as high of an energy exercise as you can go, followed by 30 seconds of sort of like light movement. And, your physical trainer, your doctor can tell you just how much your heart rate is safe to go up for you, how much exertion is right for you. Don't attempt to do high intensity interval trainings like if you have heart disease or something like that. But that's something you definitely want to look up how to do. What I would certainly recommend is to do like half of your days with high intensity interval training techniques, and then alternate that with muscle building techniques. That way, you're going to work on both your muscle building for your resting metabolic rate, and you're also going to work on making your muscles a little bit less efficient so you'll burn more with your active exercise. And of course, you want to increase your overall activity level. And that's how you're going to do the best you can to overcome those metabolic changes from the leptin intolerance. You're also going to want to avoid stress. Good luck with that. And you're also want to get adequate sleep every night. And that's something that you just have to develop self-discipline to do that. Okay. So, what about the cravings? And I told you that the leptin resistance causes this problem in your brain where you can't stop thinking about food. Okay. And you're probably thinking about a delicious pizza or a brownie or something you probably shouldn't be eating. So, I have a number of tricks from addiction medicine where people get cravings for substances like alcohol or drugs. And it's really the same, excuse me, it's the same thing. You get a craving, it's something that triggers you, and it triggers your mind to focus on something you don't want it to focus on. And what I tell my patients in addiction is a lot of the times it's people, places, and things that trigger your mind to think about certain thoughts that you don't want to think about. Like, you know, being with a certain group of people, they're going to go out and have pizza and beer. Maybe you need to avoid avoid that group if it's too hard for you to choose something else. And the mental part, the psychological part, is probably the hardest thing, especially if you have any sort of a problem with any kind of disordered eating from food where emotions really kind of kick in and take over. So that's where some sort of counseling or just talking it out with your friends might really be helping you a lot. So again, with the metabolism, you've probably heard a lot of stuff on the internet about something called intermittent fasting or meal timing in order to lose weight. And you'll probably see a bunch of those, like people promising you all sorts of results based on who you are, what your body type is. And then it shows some picture of your of your belly fat melting off. I'm sorry, but that's just not going to happen. Okay. It's a scam. So don't spend your money on that. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about meal scheduling, what the science says. And this is absolutely free. You do not have to pay me for this, okay? The science says that eating early is better for your metabolism. So they also did a metabolic lab study, exact same calories, exact same activities for people in each group. One group ate earlier and ended earlier. They took 8-hour segments for eating, and one took their 8-hour segment from early in the morning until about 4 p.m. And the other group took the later segment from like 1 to 9 p.m. Okay. So they were limiting their food to like 8 hours, and one had the early eating and one had the later eating. Guess what? Early eating is better for your metabolism. Boom. There you have it. So if you're going to be timing your eating at all, time it early instead of late. And typically, the best thing you can do for yourself is just to close down that kitchen at 7 p.m. because the later you eat, the less well off you're going to be. And a lot of people get into that snack mode at night, maybe grabbing some chips, maybe grabbing some soda. And, I do that too. And it's hard not to if you're going to sit and like watch a movie or do something at night. But you want to be a little bit tricky with your snacks. If you must have a snack, make sure it's something that's bulky and lower in calories. Like, for example, you might want to have homemade air pop popcorn instead of Doritos, and just limit yourself to a certain amount of calories and maybe some sparkling water or something like that instead of a glass of wine. And then if you must have the snack, just make sure that it's one that's not going to derail your diet plan. And then as far as all the magical fasting, is it a magic wand? Is it like going to miraculously melt your belly fat? The answer is no. So, and they've done meta-analysis research on this, and the different types of fasting don't really work any better than limiting your calories on a day-to-day basis. In fact, they're very similar. So, if you're somebody who has a real struggle limiting your calories on every day, then you might want to try a certain type of intermittent fasting called the 5 and 2 fasting, where you take 2 days, and for women on the 2 days you choose, you limit your calories to either 500 calories for women or 700 calories for men. And on the other days, you eat your normal calorie restricted diet. People seem to be able to maybe handle that a little bit better. It does decrease their calories over time. And it's, for some people, it's easier to do that. But it's really not better than simply limiting your calories every day. So the magical fasting is not really magical, so you can save your money there too. So here we are, we're going to talk about ghrelin, and ghrelin is really important. It is that hormone that makes you feel hungry. And as soon as you lose weight, guess what happens? Your ghrelin level goes up and you become hungry forever. What are you going to do? You never feel full. You're always thinking of food as soon as you lose weight. And your brain is thinking, gotta eat, because that ghrelin is giving you stomach discomfort that comes from hunger. So what are you going to do? How are we going to overcome our hunger? Well, one of the tried and true methods to overcome hunger is eat breakfast. Yes, breakfast, it really actually is important, and to eat protein for breakfast. And I have a picture here of some eggs with some tomatoes, I guess. Ooh, tomatoes? Nah, I'd rather have like an orange or something. No orange juice, okay? Just an orange. It has to be a whole fruit. It can't be fruit juice. Never, never, never drink like fruit juices, okay? Just whole fruits, okay? So you can have some strawberries, some blueberries, some eggs. Eat a breakfast with protein, okay? And then you'll also want to eat more food. And you're like, what? More food? No, that's impossible. But yes, it is possible. You want to eat more food. And the more food that you want to eat is actually going to be more fruits and vegetables. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. And you want to drink more water if you're not getting enough hydration. And sometimes the water will make you more full. And then also, you want to get a lot more fiber. So, let me go ahead and talk a little bit about that. So, eating more. What we're talking about is 5 servings of vegetables and 2 fruits a day. Now, over 90% of Americans don't get their fruits and vegetables every day. And probably a preponderance of the population doesn't even have a single vegetable each day. Now, that is a shame. That's terrible. Now, this is a lot of food you see on the picture there, the broccoli, the lettuce, the red peppers. Oh, and red peppers, capsaicin in red peppers actually increases your metabolism. I should have told you that. Like eating a whole red pepper, that's going to increase your metabolism every day. So if you like spicy, that's good. But that's actually a lot of food. If you eat 5 servings of vegetable, and a serving is half a cup, if you eat 5 servings of that, and like small to medium fruits a day, that will be approximately 200 calories total for that huge, big pile of fruits and vegetables, right? That's a lot, okay? And for all of that food, it's so big and bulky. Um, but say you eat a couple cookies, right? That would be 200 calories, maybe just for 1 or 2 small cookies, a couple Oreos or something. And you're like, which is more filling? Which is more filling? Okay. You're going to be really full when you eat more, but you eat the food that's going to fill you up that isn't calorie dense. And I just brought a example of that is like a bag of frozen vegetables. This has 4 servings in this bag. And I'm not going to say what brand this is, but you can just eat a bag of vegetables. And that's pretty much your whole servings for vegetables for the day. So easy, so easy. Okay. And then you can get an apple, an orange, or some blueberries, and you're really on your way to doing better. And make sure you get that down with a whole bunch of water. You're going to be feeling full. You're going to be feeling better. So the next thing I want to talk about is actually something really important called, and we talked about this also in the last, when we talked about leptin resistance, we talked about a couple things that decrease leptin resistance and a couple things that increase leptin resistance. So avoiding alcohol is going to make you feel full more. Avoiding fruit sugars and sugars is going to make you feel full more. Avoiding trans fats is going to make you feel full more. But the good fats are going to fill you up. The good fats are going to be like walnut oil, walnuts, avocados, and olive oil. The good fats will fill you up, as well as the omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA, like you might find in salmon. But we want to talk a little bit more about soluble fiber, because soluble fiber is a very, very effective way to be filled up. So, what is soluble fiber? And this is really important. I tell my patients this all the time. One of the most important things you can do to make yourself feel more satisfied and more full, excuse me, is to take a fiber supplement before meals. Okay. And fiber, it's important. You don't want to take it too close to other medications, because what does fiber do? It might help your stools kind of go through and be more bulky, And it might also make you kind of lose your medications through your gastrointestinal tract, and they might end up in the toilet. So if you want to absorb your medications, make sure you take them about an hour away from taking a fiber supplement, okay? So a lot of times I just recommend taking a fiber supplement maybe a half hour before dinner, maybe take it right when you're getting ready to make dinner. And then you won't feel like tempted to pick at the food while you're making it if that's what you're doing. Now, the fiber I usually recommend is called psyllium. And I'm going to show you a bottle of psyllium right here. And this is basically just, it is a vegetable fiber. It comes in little capsules, little capsules like this. And you just down a couple of these, and it's made out of plant husks. It's very safe, and you just gulp it down with a big glass of water, and it'll give you the fiber that you need. It also helps to reduce things like colon cancer, and it also helps to do things like reduce cholesterol. So this whole fiber thing is really good, and it's spelled Psyllium, psyllium. Okay, so psyllium fiber. And this is the kind that comes in the capsules, and you may like capsules, and I'm going to put these on my website so that you can find where to buy them. I don't recommend a specific brand, just whatever is cheapest. And you can also get it in Metamucil, which is, again, I'm not trying to recommend a brand, but they have, if you have trouble swallowing capsules, or if you don't like it mixed up in a drink, which is kind of gritty, you may prefer like the little cookies, and then you feel like you're having a little snack and it's a cookie. I kind of like these actually, because I don't necessarily always remember to take medication that I tell myself I should be taking either. And that's just because, I don't always do the things that I tell other people that they should do. But trying to eat fiber every day is super important, super important. So I'm going to kind of go over again some of the ways that you are going to reduce that ghrelin feeling, that hunger feeling as you go through the day, okay? One of the ways is to drink water, or it could be also hot tea, hot coffee. I mean, you would want to probably limit the caffeine to like early in the day. And just make sure that you get plenty of liquid through the day, especially if you're going to have more fiber, because if you have a lot of fiber, but not a lot of water, it might just kind of clump up and actually make you constipated, and you don't want that. So drinking plenty of liquids. The other thing is 2 fruits, 5 vegetables. And the easy way to get the 5 vegetables is a frozen bag of vegetables. Throw it in the microwave for 5 minutes. You're done. It's so easy. And that way you don't have wasted, rotting not that I would ever have rotting vegetables in my refrigerator, no. But if you're one of those awful people that that lets their food rot in the refrigerator, the frozen stuff, it doesn't rot. It's reasonably priced. The quality of frozen is just as good as fresh. So you can store it. It's inexpensive. It doesn't rot. So I really do recommend the frozen vegetables, just because I think it means that you will eat them and they will not go to waste. And it's so easy to prepare them because all you have to do is microwave them, and then you can just eat them however you want. You could just dump it on your plate and put it next to 4 ounces of salmon, and you have a beautiful dinner there for yourself. It's very easy. So the vegetables, the fruit, and taking that fiber supplement usually about a half hour before dinner, while you're getting ready, or if you need a little bit of something in the afternoon because you're feeling hungry, but it's not quite dinner yet, that's another good time to take the fiber. It'll kind of take the edge off for you. And the other thing to do is to try to make sure that you eat breakfast, you eat protein with your breakfast, you get 50 grams of protein in your day, and that you try to shut off your kitchen at about 7 so that you avoid that nighttime trap of eating too much food. Now, that's all that I have today for why you can't lose weight and some tricks and tips to try to fool your body a little bit. Thank you for watching, and we're welcome to come back next time to Speak Life New Haven.
Tune in next time for Speak Life with Dr. Amy Chai at ctpolitics.tv.